Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
We are going to see another important topic in our CE 401 Water Resource Engineering. This is called flood routing. I think last class we have seen about floods. Right? Floods are just estimation of magnitude of the flow at a given location. But sometimes what happens, the magnitude of flood at one location, especially in the upstreams of the catchment, will be very small. But as the length of the river goes on increasing, more and more area contributes for this flood quantile, right? And then finally at the outlet of the basin, you will have a huge flood. But it has not happened just due to one stream or two stream. It is the entire contribution. But there is a time lag between the occurrence of flood on the upstream side and the downstream side. So when I am estimating this quantity of magnitude of the flood, I have to do this routing, the delay time between the occurrence of flood at one location and its movement downstream side. That is called as flood routing. Right? So a flood, right? In a given basin, we may have to find the magnitude of flood and flood hydrograph parameters at a particular space due to flood at another space. That means at the upstream side at the same space. Of course, both the spaces are hydrologically connected. That means I can do this flood routing only in a given basin. For example, if I take Krishna basin, I can use the flood in the upstream of Krishna basin, route it safely to the downstream of Krishna only. I cannot route it to the next basin, which is not hydrologically connected. Right? So the space where I am safely dispersing the flood from one place to another place, there are two situations. One is in a dam, right? The space is differentiated only by the thin wall when compared to the volume of water stored. But in this case, the storage is large. So that is why that is called as reservoir routing. Or I have to safely dispose flood from one section of the river to another section at a far off distance. Then such a routing is called as channel routing or river routing. That means flood routing means finding the hydrologic route for the flood from one space to another space. But actually a flood is a wave, right? I think you might have seen several videos in YouTube and WhatsApp how the first flood starts coming from a large river. Initially the water level is at a constant depth or there may not be water. Then suddenly there will be a flow of muddy water, right? Then the depth of water level goes on increasing, right? Increasing, and once it reaches the peak value, then it goes down, right? So when I measure that stage, right, continuously, then I can see a hydrograph of stage. That is nothing but passage of flood at a particular section. But the shape of this hydrograph depends upon the channel storage or the reservoir storage, the resistance offered by the channel through its channel characteristics. If there is any addition of sub-basin or removal to the channel, that also will affect the change of this reservoirs. This flood routing. What actually we are doing the flood routing? That means when there is a heavy expected peak, and if I calculate the carrying capacity of the channel, it is less than that peak, then I have to safely dispose that peak so that my releases are uniform and it will not overflow. Right? Either you use the storage or alter the control of outflow and inflow. Right? Thus, the main purpose of reservoir flood routing is to safely dispose the flood by reducing its peak and increasing the base time. Why it is used? It is mainly used for flood forecasting, flood protection, reservoir design and spillway designs. Thus, now it is very clear, right? Flood routing. You can see that flood routing is the technique of determining the flood hydrograph at a section of a river by utilizing the data of flood flow at one or more upstream condition. For example, I have two sections, right? A, B, C. Here at A, this is my flood, and at B, this is my flood, and at C, this is my flood. But how to transfer this shape of hydrograph to this shape and this shape to this shape, right? So the flood which happened maximum is slowly reducing. At the same time, the hydrograph base time is increasing. This is the safe disposal of flood waters, right? So depending upon the length of the distance between upstream and downstream, there are two types of flood routing. One is called as reservoir routing and another one is called channel routing. Reservoir routing is also called as hydrologic routing, because in hydrologic routing I balance the volume of water between upstream and downstream, or the discharge in the upstream and downstream, which causes the storage. So there I am balancing the continuity of flow from upstream to downstream, or continuity of mass between upstream and downstream. So when I use only continuity equation to route the flood from upstream to downstream, I call that as hydrologic routing. But if it is a river reach, there is no much storage, right? So then how I can manage? I have to estimate the depth of flow, velocity at each and every time, so that the banks of the river is not overflow. That means I need to employ Saint Venant's equation to find out what is the hydraulic parameters at different locations at different time periods. That is called as hydraulic routing. There is one method which employs channel routing also by using hydrologic equation, that is continuity equation, and such type of channel routing is called as Mushkingham channel routing. So we will see that in detail, right? So the hydraulic routing employs the continuity equation. Hydraulic routing employs the continuity equation together with the momentum equation of unsteady flow. That is Saint Venant's equation. Now we will see one by one. First hydrologic routing, then hydraulic routing. Right? What is this reservoir routing? Reservoir routing is to predict the variation of reservoir elevation. Reservoir elevation means the water level in the reservoir and outflow discharge with time, so that the discharge is well within the designed discharge of my surplus weir. So study the effect of flood wave entering the reservoir. For this we need two relationship curves. One is called area elevation storage curve, right? That was created when the dam was constructed. We will see much more about this area elevation storage curve when we are studying reservoirs and the dams. Then outflow elevation curve. I think this you might have done a relationship in your hydraulics lab, right? When you are doing a finding out coefficient of discharge for your weirs and notches, you might have drawn a graph, right? Where in x-axis it is h, depth of water flowing over the structure. In y-axis it is discharge, or and the vice versa. That means when you measure this head of water flowing over the structure, you can find out what is the discharge. This relationship is irrespective of whether the increase in elevation is due to flood or due to normal rainfall. Here the relationship is between only the depth of water flowing over the structure and discharge. Okay. Thus, if I want to carry out a reservoir routing, mainly to do the design of spillway and to find the location and sizing of capacity of reservoirs. This is the essential of reservoir routing. Right? So this is the basic hydrologic equation. Right? It's nothing but input minus output is change in storage. I is the input. What is the input for reservoir? Inflow into the dam. And Q is outflow from the dam. Then the remaining is change in storage. It may not be instantaneous. It is for over a period of time, delta T. If I consider a small time period, delta T, then find out what is the initial inflow, I1, and final inflow into the reservoir, I2. Average will give you my average inflow. Similarly, outflow at starting of the time, outflow at end of the time, delta T, will give me the average value, will give me the average outflow. S1 and S2 are storage in the reservoir during starting of the flood, and S2 is storage at the end of the flood for a given time period, delta T. So substituting this is the basic hydrologic equation used, or water balance equation used in hydrologic routing. If I draw this graphically, right? If this is my reservoir, a tank, right? Let us say consider this reservoir having a full storage of S, right? And this S is function of nothing but height of water, right? As the height of water goes on increasing, my storage also goes on increasing, right? Suddenly there is a inflow. Inflow is nothing but flood water. That means from the hydrograph I have estimated for a given rainfall, this is the actual time of measurement, and this is the inflow I1, I2, I3. Then what I have to do here, so that if this discharge, peak discharge, right, from the inflow hydrograph is well within the surplus weir of my reservoir, I don't need to bother. Okay. But the second one, if the reservoir is empty, and find out the volume of water entering into the dam. If it is less than the available capacity or empty space, then also we no need to bother. But when the dam is full, at that time, if this much flood water is coming, whether my surplus weir will safely dispose this flood, that is what we have to find out. So I need to safely dispose that flood means I need to start the operation of my gates much ahead of arrival of peak flow. Okay, just I will give an example. Suppose if you are opening water into a bucket, right? So when the bucket is empty, whatever the discharge you open, it is getting accommodated. Once it is at brim level, the inflow remains same, but when the bucket starts overflowing, you feel that the discharge that is overflowing from the bucket is more than the water coming from the tap, because it is not the overflowing of only the water coming in, the stored water also sometimes gets overflowed. So that's why we feel that flood discharge means it is enormous. Right? When I want to do this flood storage disposal safely, then I need some graphical relationship. As I said, the first graphical relationship what I need is, as the time increases, how the storage is increasing. But how I can find the storage? Every time I cannot measure. Then there is a relationship between water level in the dam and storage, which is called as area elevation storage curve. Once I know, I will go to the dam, find out what is the height of water at a given time t1, then find out what is the storage. So these two can be simultaneously drawn. Then with the help of these three curves, that means inflow curve, storage, then this storage time and depth of water, I have to find out this discharge curve. How much I need to do discharge, right? For example, you see the peak flow, they are all happening at a time period from the lag, right? Lag delta t or lag period. But I have to operate the dam from zero time, so that at the end of the flood, I should not unnecessarily empty the reservoir, or unnecessarily I should not cause flooding in the downstream side. Okay, so that is called as hydrologic routing. Okay, and remember this formula: Q is equal to 2 by 3 CD root 2G LH to the power of 3 by 2. It is nothing but discharge over the weir. Okay, now I am going to ask one theoretical question, right? You have studied discharge over the trapezoidal weir as well as V notch. Okay, and in both these experiment, you are measuring what depth of water flowing over the weir or over the notch. You see here, Q is, all these things are constants, right? For a given notch, 2 by 3 CD root 2G L, this is constant. So your Q is equal to some constant K H to the power of 3 by 2. If it is triangular notch, and then that will be function of, it is h to the power of 5 by 2 triangular notch. How comes for trapezoidal notch it is only h to the power of 3 by 2? But if I do a dimensional analysis, right? You know, in hydraulics dimension, right? Dimensional analysis, that is for L for length, M for mass and T for time. Here L dimension, length dimension, how many length dimensions are here in trapezoidal notch? H is also a dimension of unit of length. So L to the power of 3 by 2, and there is one more L, that is nothing but length of the weir. So added together, here also it is dimension L to the power of 5 by 2, and trapezoidal notch also it is L to the power of 5 by 2. Since we are measuring here two different dimensions, length and height, there we are measuring only the height of it. That's why dimensional analysis is very important in hydraulics. Okay, now coming back to the flood routing. So when I want to safely dispose the flood from the reservoir, I need this information. That is the storage volume versus elevation of the reservoir, called as area elevation storage curve. Then water surface elevation and outflow. Water surface elevation goes on increasing. So I need a curve which can give me the combined effect of storage and outflow. Okay, then inflow hydrograph, then the initial values of storage, inflow and discharge at the starting time of flood. Right? There are 3 or 4 methods are very commonly used. One is modified pulse method, Goodrich method, then for standard 4th order Angeputta method. These methods are classified how, where you are keeping this delta T. See, for example, here inflow also in this Goodrich method, inflow is also a unit of discharge. Discharge Q is also unit of discharge. S or storage, that is volume. When I am dividing it by time, that means it becomes a unit of discharge. So here I am balancing the discharge. Suppose if I keep this delta T with left hand side, then this inflow multiplied with inflow in meter cube per second multiplied with the time, this will become volume, and outflow is also volume. So you are managing the volume. That method is nothing but Goodrich method. sorry, that is modified pulse method. So in Goodrich method, we are managing it in terms of discharge, right? So in this equation 7, right, everything is known except Q2, that is discharge at the end of the delta T. Also this relationship, storage at the end of the time delta T. Now bringing the known and unknown to one side, right? In the above, see, I2 is known because I2 is estimated from your flood hydrograph. Delta T is the time step which you want to see the status of your flood. Maybe you can keep this delta T equal to your hydrograph time steps. Okay. So the first thing we need is, I need a relationship of the storage and discharge. How to estimate this? So this is the storage and discharge is a function of specified reservoir and not for a flood. So once I know delta T, then I can derive this relationship, right? So to know the discharge, we need a graph between elevation versus the storage. That's why this method is called as semi-graphical method, and this graph is called as storage elevation discharge data. It is not area elevation storage curve. This is storage elevation discharge data. So from this graph we do the flood routing, right? Let us see how to understand this through a problem, right? Let us have a problem like this. I have an inflow hydrograph for a given dam, right? Here the delta T is 6 hours. So this is my current inflow and it goes on increasing, and after 66 hours it is reduced to 20. So there is a peak discharge at 18. Now what I have to do? First I have to derive this storage discharge curve. How to derive that? For that I need this area elevation curve. That means for the elevation of water level, right? And this is the storage in the dam and this is the outflow. It's a free outflow. And the initial conditions are T is equal to 0. The reservoir elevation is 100.6 meters. That means some quantity of water is already surplusing from the dam. How flood is coming? How safely you have to dispose? For that, first step is construct the storage elevation discharge curve. Assume the time period of delta T 6 hours, then equal to the time discharge of inflow hydrograph. Estimate the values 2 times of storage by delta T plus Q, right? So this is the elevation they have given, this is the storage, and this is the outflow. S is the storage. See, S is in meter cube, 10 power 6 meter cube, and discharge is meter cube per second, right? So you divide this storage 3.35 into 2 divided by delta T is 6 hours. Convert that into seconds and then add the outflow discharge. Okay, that is the relationship. Now you have to plot a graph. So you estimate for different elevations. Then plot a graph between elevation versus discharge. Elevation versus discharge Q. Also elevation versus this relationship. Okay. In that graph you mark the initial time period, right? Like this. I have drawn the storage discharge versus reservoir elevation. 2S by delta T plus Q by elevation. In the same graph, I have drawn the outflow also. See, outflow is in X2 axis, storage discharge in X1 axis, and reservoir elevation in Y axis. Now, what is the initial condition? When time is equal to 0, the reservoir water level is 100.6. Now, you mark in this 100.6. Then you can pick up two values, right? One is outflow and the second is the storage discharge. So the storage discharge is 340 or 300, this is 325, 330. Similarly, for the same level, you can pick up what is the outflow, right? 12 meter cube per second. Now you construct a table, right? This is the time 0, 10, 26, 66 hours. This is the inflow at every time step. Now at 0, right? You don't know, you know what is the delta S2 by T plus Q2, that is from the elevation of 100.6, you have found out these two values. Now you have to find out what is the discharge at 6. But when I am finding this 0 and 6, right, then at 6, this 340 value storage at delta end of the time period of previous time will become all initial now. But this is storage plus discharge, but what I need is storage minus discharge. So what is the discharge at this point? 12. If I subtract it 2 times, then I will get this relationship of storage minus discharge. That is starting point. But it is the end point of previous time step will become the starting point of current time step. Now, how will you find out this 2s2? This is nothing but algebraic sum of this I1 plus I2 plus this 360. Now, for this 356, go to your graph 356, right? For this one value, you have to pick up what is the elevation, and from the elevation find out what is the discharge. Now that will be the discharge at the end of the time period 6. Now when I route the flood between 6 hours and 12 hours, 6 hours will become starting point and 12 hours becomes end point. Okay. So at the end point, what is the initial 2s1? That is whatever happened at end of this 356 minus 2 times of 17, that will become the initial storage plus this total inflow 437. Now go to the graph for 437, pick up what is the elevation and then what is the discharge 40, right? So you like that, you go on filling up. So next is this final storage minus 2 times of this final discharge will become the initial storage discharge for time step between 12 and 18. Then find out, this is sum of this. So if I do this continuously, then I can find out what is the discharge at every time. What is that good thing we did here? If I plot, right, same flood, right, this is the inflow and this is my outflow. When I compare this inflow and outflow, right, in inflow what is the maximum discharge? 140 happened at a time of 18 hours, but in discharge the maximum is only 127 happened at a time of 24 hours. So the blue line is the inflow and red line is the outflow hydrograph. What great thing we did here by discharging, by flood routing, the peak discharge got reduced, and this reduced peak discharge is called as attenuation. But please remember, there is a change in occurrence of peak time. Right? Initially it happened at 18 hours, now it is at 24 hours. That means there is a increase in lag, and that is called as lag of flood. At the same time, you see here in rising limb, initially the inflow is more and outflow is less, so the reservoir is getting filled up, that is storing the water. Once it crosses this point of inflection, the outflow is more than the storage or inflow. That means reservoir is getting depleted. Altogether, if inflow is equal to outflow, there is no net storage in the reservoir. Okay, so these two important things we do through flood routing. That means we reduce the peak flow called as attenuation, and we increase the lag time. At the same time, we have increased the base time of hydrograph. These three variations happens in flood routing. Okay, so this is flood routing through reservoir or hydrologic flood routing.